Welcome back, dear friends, at Lit eCity, the YouTube channel that provides you best material for preparation exams related with English literature like NTA, NET, and other exams. Dear friends, in this series we are discussing R K Narayan, one of the greatest names in Indo-Anglian literature. He was a pioneer. He is one of the most celebrated writers, and in this particular video we will discuss some of his works, very popular works like Waiting for the Mahatma, The Guide, The Maneater of Malgudi, The Vendor of Sweets, and The Painter of Signs. So without wasting any more time, let's start with the discussion of the novel Waiting for the Mahatma, which was first published in 1955. Dear friends, Waiting for Mahatma is the story of a young man, Sri Ram, who is an orphan and who is deeply influenced with Mahatma Gandhi during the years of Indian freedom struggle. Now Sri Ram lives with his doting grandmother comfortably on the pension of his dead father. But when he turns 21, his grandmother allows him to take his own financial decisions. He goes to post office, he withdraws money and he thinks what to do. He tries to spend money, but then he meets Bharti, who is an ardent follower of Gandhiji, and she is collecting money for some funds. Now he is enchanted by her beauty, by her demeanor, and he donated some of money to her. Now, Sri Ram joins the freedom movement. It is not for some altruistic or some we can say ulterior motive, but it is in the hope that he may get to see Bharti more and more. And Bharti is also an orphan child. When Gandhiji comes to their village, Bharti takes him to visit the Mahatma, and Sri Ram realizes he doesn't follow any of Gandhiji's principles. In fact, there is quite a dilemma among the villagers regarding the visit of Gandhiji. On one hand, they all are very much influenced and impressed by his ascetic way of life, non-violence. But on the other hand, he decided to reside at the house of an untouchable. The villagers are perturbed and puzzled by this step, but still they don't want to create a wrong impression on the Mahatma. Sri Ram initially hides this fact from his grandmother that he is visiting and seeing Mahatma Gandhi. But when he is allowed to accompany the Mahatma's tour of the villages, he provides on the condition that he gets the permission of his grandmother. Following the Mahatma's departure, Sri Ram shifts to a deserted shrine on the slopes of the Mampi Hills. The reason is that Mahatma has gone, his grandmother has not allowed him to go following him, and he is rather disappointed that he won't meet Bharti anymore, so he shifts to this particular place. Now, Sri Ram does his duty as a worker of the national cause, but also has an inner conflict about going back to his comfortable home on Kabir Street. Though he has himself gained some popularity, he wants to contribute, but there are other issues. He proposes Bharti, but she insists that she wouldn't marry him without Bapu or Mahatma's permission. Next, he comes in contact with Jagdish. Jagdish is we can say, follower, a member of an extremist group, a terrorist who wears khadi and has a photo studio for the front end. So the photo studio is just a sham behind which he conducts many terrorist activities against British. Jagdish gets Sri Ram to derail a train by offering the bait of talking to Bharti. Sri Ram agrees to it and becomes a wanted person for the police because of this particular act. Now, Sri Ram escapes from there. He gets to know about the death of his grandmother, and in disguise he reaches there. At the funeral pyre, to the shock of everyone present, there is a movement in the body of Granny, and it turns out that she is not actually dead. He takes her back home, but soon the police arrives because the news has reached them and arrests him. With the news of India's impending independence, Shriram is finally released, and he also learned that Bharti was amongst the earliest political prisoners to be released and that she had left for Noakhali in East Bengal, where communal rights were on. Bharti invites him to Delhi, where she is living in a hut and taking care of refugee children. He proposes again, and they seek the blessings of the Mahatma, who promises to perform their wedding himself the next morning. They go to the prayer meeting where a person rushes up to the stage to the Mahatma and shoots him. And with this, the novel ends. So basically, the novel has the backdrop of Indian independence struggle, the influence of Mahatma Gandhi on villagers, and there is, we can say, side by side, rather a frustrated love story. The next novel which we are going to discuss is one of the most popular works of Indian literature. It has taken a stamp over the whole world. The name of the work is The Guide, first published in 1937, for which R K Narayan also won a Sahitya Akademi Award. It is a Bilningist romance about Raju, who undergoes various transformations in his life and in the end attains the spiritual self-realization. Raju is born and brought up in a village where his father has a small shop. After the death of his father, he starts a small shop at the newly built railway station. Soon, because of his gift of gab, because of his attractive personality, because of his ability to weave romantic ideas with historical places, he becomes the star guide to all the coming tourists. And there is always a demand for Railway Raju Guide to take tourists to the tour of Malgudi and nearby places. His life changes when Marco, who is an archaeologist, and his wife Rosie, quite younger to him, arrive there. Marco is interested in exploring some ancient caves, and Raju soon understands that he doesn't care much for his younger wife Rosie. Rosie, on the other hand, has an undying, very strong passion for dance, and Raju taking advantage of this. Both facts that Marco is not paying attention to Rosie, and Rosie is looking for a particular snake charmer to learn about a typical dance. He seduces her with his sweet talk. Eventually, Marco comes to know of this affair and he leaves Rosie and Raju behind them. Rosie and Raju start living together at Raju's house, but actually Raju's mother is very angry, and Raju's uncle, the brother to Raju's mother, takes her away, threatening Raju with dire results. But Raju doesn't care. He is so much in love, and we can say he is passionate about living with Rosie. Soon Raju arranges for public performances of Rosie. Once she gets the breakthrough, she reaches the heights of popularity, and Raju, who is his mentor, his manager, accumulates a lot of name and fame. He arranges her tour non-stop. In fact, Rosie sometimes considered that she has become just a dancing doll. Rosie sometimes hankers and feels guilt for her husband, valid legal husband Marco, and Raju is always very much concerned that Rosie should not talk about Marco. Raju lives lavishly, entertains a large number of friends with whom he drinks and gambles. All goes well till Raju forges Rosie's signature to obtain some jewelry lying with her husband. The act lands him in jail. Rosie leaves Malgudi and goes away to Madras, her hometown. This is the second, we can say, turn, and now in the third turn, another twist comes after his release. Raju doesn't want to come back to Malgudi. He takes shelter in a temple on the banks of river Saryu near the village Mangla. The simple villagers accidentally take him to be a Mahatma, begin to worship him, bring him a lot of fruits as present. Raju relishes this role also and once again become quite popular among the villagers. However, soon there is a severe famine and the villagers expect Raju to perform some miracle to bring them rain. Once again, accidentally, the villagers begin to believe that Raju is going to undertake a fast until it rains. The fast attracts much attention and people come to have darshan of the Mahatma from far and wide. On the 12th day of the fast, Raju falls down exhausted just as there are signs of rain on the distant horizon. It is not certain if he is actually dead or merely fainted. Thus, the novel comes to an abrupt close on a note of ambiguity. Now, the novel was adapted into a movie directed by Vijay Anand. The role of Raju was played by Dev Anand. There was also an English version which was scripted by Paul S. Burke and directed and produced by Ted Danielowski. Next novel we are going to discuss is The Maneater of Malgudi, first published in 1961, which is the story of Nataraj, a printing press owner, and Vasu, who is a taxidermist and a tenant of Nataraj. Vasu has come to Malgudi with the intention of exploring the Mempi Hills in search of wildlife. Even though Nataraj and his friends have an uncomfortable first meeting where Vasu is unseemly and aggressive, Nataraj allows him to live in his attic of the press. Vasu very soon occupies the attic and make space. Now one day, Vasu brought a forest official to the press who wanted to get his book Golden Thoughts printed. Vasu is permitted only to shoot duck and deer, forbidding him to shoot other large animals like tiger. One day, Vasu forcibly takes Nataraj to Mempi forest where he discovers footmarks of a tiger. Nataraj somehow returns to Malgudi alone. He is helped by a local shop owner who gives him money, and then the next day Vasu brings the dead body of the tiger he killed. Vasu then takes Nataraj to his room, which is wrapped with dead animals, carcasses, foul smells, and Nataraj is horrified and thought of devising a way to get rid of this demon named Vasu. When Nataraj tells Vasu to leave, he is summoned a notice from the court of rat controller. Due to strict oversight at the Mempi forest, Vasu cannot continue his hunting spree. Vasu starts bringing prostitutes to the attic. One day, Kumar, who is a temple elephant, is brought to Malgudi for some treatment. Nataraj searches for a doctor and arranges for Kumar's treatment. Nataraj's poet friend finishes his book on Krishna Radha and a grand celebration is proposed on its launching day. However, Nataraj is informed that Vasu plans to kill the elephant on that day. Nataraj grows concerned and tells the municipal chairman asking him to leave from there. An inspector comes there to stop Vasu, but Vasu is defiant and in the following ruckus, his wrist is broken. That night, Nataraj goes to the attic to stop Vasu anyhow, but he finds him slumped in the chair and the procession going by peacefully without any obstruction from Vasu. He comes down with a sigh of relief, though confused at what has happened to Vasu. Next day, he comes to know that Vasu is dead and soon the whole town is full of rumor about this strange case. Almost everyone believes that Vasu is the murderer. It becomes clear to Nataraj that even though Vasu had killed many tigers and beasts, it was he who was the real man-eater. Vasu, even after his death, had killed Nataraj's hard-earned reputation. Dear friends, the next novel, very popular one, is The Vendor of Sweets, first published in 1967. The story of Jagan, a 55-year-old man, owner of a sweet shop. Jagan is a passionate follower of Gandhi, embracing an ascetic lifestyle. But his life is full of contradictions. He believes indulging in sugar is both unhealthy and contrary to Gandhiji's teaching, yet he earns his living selling sugary confections. Jagan also skims a portion of each day's profits to pay taxes on his unreported income. Now, Jagan's main attention, his only concern, is his son Mali. Jagan's wife died several years back, and Mali felt obscurely that his father was responsible for his mother's death because he treated her with his natural care therapy, which according to Mali is a bogus thing. One day, Mali announces that he no longer wants to study at university too, and he no longer wants to study, and he wants to become a writer. He decides to go to America to study writing. Jagan silently accepts his decision. For 3 years, Mali continues to send letters, and Jagan feels proud in showing the postcards to everyone he knows. One day, Mali announces his return, and he comes back to the surprise and shock of Jagan, married to with an Anglo-Chinese girl, Grace. Jagan is deeply distressed, but still he welcomes the couple into his house. Jagan somehow adjusts with their Western habits, and then Mali reveals his plan to invest money in a story writing machine. Jagan is dismayed, but ultimately has to give in, and all his accumulated wealth goes into this project. Disillusioned finally with Mali, Jagan meets Chinnadorai, a hair dyer cum sculptor who soon impresses him with his philosophy. Jagan decides to help him financially in fulfilling his ambition of completing a statue which is at present down in a particular lake. When he comes to know that Mali and Greece are actually not married, he leaves the house too. In the end, Jagan comes to know that Mali has been arrested for public drunkenness. Jagan decides not to provide bail for him. He wants to teach Mali a lesson. He buys Grace a ticket for America. Jagan, before moving to the grove, finally asks his cousin, who is a, we can say, close aide to Mali also, to take care for Mali after he is released from prison. The last novel which we will discuss today, dear friends, is The Painter of Signs, first published in 1976. Story of Raman, who is a, we can say, sign painter, and Daisy, who works at a family planning clinic, and their romantic relationship. Raman lives with his aging aunt, who takes care of all the cooking and cleaning in their home. Most of times, Raman doesn't receive full payment for his painted assignments. He always asks for the money for the work he has done, but almost he is, we can say, sent back empty-handed. Daisy commissions him to paint signs for the family planning clinic where she works. Raman becomes constantly preoccupied with thoughts about Daisy. He delivers the sign to the family planning clinic and is grateful that he will no longer have to see Daisy, because Daisy has preoccupied his thought and he has spent many restless nights. However, Daisy asks Raman to go with her on a trip around local village to scout locations to paint signs spreading information about family planning. They both go on a bull cart, and when the bull is injured, the driver, believing that Daisy and Raman are married couple, leaves them alone together overnight while he searches for help. Raman thinks of getting physically intimate with Daisy, but he doesn't find her in the cart. Next day, Daisy complains of his behavior and threatens to go to police. Raman is very scared and he wants to ask everyone if there is any gossip about him and Daisy, but no one seems to know anything. A few days later, Daisy visits Raman again and tells him about her life, that she ran away from her home because she was a disappointment for her family. Raman comes up with another excuse to visit Daisy at home. They begin a romantic relationship. Raman tells his aunt his intention to marry Daisy, but his aunt doesn't approve because of Daisy's religion and she leaves the home. She decides to go to Banaras and stay there till she dies. Raman is very much, we can, saddened by this decision. She pleads her to stay, but she is adamant. When she has left, Raman and Daisy, they spend the night together in his bedroom. However, on the day Daisy is due to move to Raman's house, she is called away to work in a different town. Daisy ends her relationship with Raman because she believes her work is more important. She gets into a taxi and Raman watches as she leaves Malgudi for good. Okay friends, that was all for today, in which we discussed some more novels by R K Narayan. We will complete R K Narayan in our third part of the series. Till then, keep watching, keep supporting the channel. Thanks.